This is you. You are lazy. You start your day by laying in bed on your phone for about an hour, and then you eat food, watch a show, sit on TikTok, search YouTube about how to be more productive, eat some more, and then fall back asleep. At least until you wake up freaking out that you completely forgot about that paper that was due tonight and spend the next few hours writing as fast as you can to try and meet that 11:59 deadline. So I like to think that I'm a pretty disciplined guy, but in reality, I've had a lot more of these moments than I would care to admit. So today I want to talk to you about how I've been able to overcome my procrastination and general laziness to actually be able to use it to my advantage a little bit. And make sure you stick around to the end because I think I've actually figured out the problem and how to solve it too. Okay, here we go. In physics, you learn that the path that an object takes is always the one of least resistance. And humans are exactly the same way. We have been designed by evolution to conserve as much energy as possible. So it's not like we're split into productive people and lazy people. We are all lazy. But the difference is that some people have figured out how to be strategically lazy and even use it to their advantage. It's called delaying gratification. It's basically where you spend your present moments now setting yourself up for your future self. For me, it looks like planning out my day the night before so I can coast through my morning routine. And as I learned from my 21st birthday, the night before is very often a reflection of the day that you're having today. Unfortunately, that means finishing your paper right away, but that's not always a bad thing because it allows you to have a lot of guilt-free lazy time. It's going to feel a lot more deserved. I honestly think it's way better than putting it off. I know that doesn't feel good to me, so I know I'm going to want to actually finish my paper immediately versus waiting to the last minute and just feeling guilty about it the whole time, Stanford did a pretty famous experiment around delayed gratification in the 1960s. And through their research, they found that being able to delay gratification is one of the most important characteristics for success in health, work, and in life. It was called the Marshmallow Experiment. Basically what they did was put 4 and 5-year-old children in a room with a marshmallow on the table and offered them a deal where the researcher left the room, and if the child didn't eat the marshmallow while the researcher was away, then they would get a second one. So some of the children ate the marshmallow, some of them didn't, but that's not really the most interesting part of this experiment. The most interesting part came a few years later when they were studying the lives of these people to see if there was actually an effect of delayed gratification and being able to wait for that second marshmallow. And what they found was the children that were able to delay gratification, they ended up having higher SAT scores, lower levels of substance abuse, a lower likelihood of obesity, and a better response to stress. Pretty incredible that just delaying gratification and not giving in to your immediate desires could, set you up like that. But the thing I don't like about the study is that it makes it seem like when you're born, you're destined to be able to delay gratification or you're not, right? And I don't think it's a born thing. I think it's a learned trait. It all comes down to your ability to prioritize what you're thinking over what you are feeling like you want to do in the moment. So to me, that means it's more of a muscle that you build up over time rather than something that you're just inherently gifted with or not. So now we know what to do, delay gratification, but where I always get stuck is the how. That's the hardest part for sure. How do I motivate myself to delay gratification? So first we need to understand motivation. Motivation is not the cause of action, it's the result of action. You will never find consistent motivation to do something unless you are consistently working on it. So really what we need is momentum, because getting started is the hardest part. So here's what I do. Step 1, I make a to-do list. Step 2, I apply the 2-minute rule to the to-do list. Basically, that means if it takes less than 2 minutes, I just get it done, as soon as possible. Number 3, I practice the art of showing up. Schedule time to do something, and I am only allowed to do it during that specific time. Number 4, change your environment for each of the things that you're doing. So, novelty is very powerful. So I think switching out and say only doing some specific work, like only writing your papers at the kitchen table or just only writing papers in the library, is actually a really great way to kind of reset your brain and focus a lot better on that one specific task. Number 5, the most important thing that has changed for me is getting rid of small devices you need to get rid of small devices, especially during the workday. I mean, I don't think they're terrible all day. I would really like to do that Matt DeVella challenge where he's switching to a flip phone for 30 days. I think that sounds incredible, as challenging as it would probably be. So personally, I think multitasking is a lie. I might just be a boy, but I think it's definitely a lie, and monotasking is definitely the way to go, which is where you just focus on one task. And that's why I say get rid of small devices, because a lot of times I'll have my phone sitting on my desk right next to me, and it's like buzzing and going off and stuff like that. So basically, my biggest switch in mindset and what I do every day is, if I'm going to bed, like at the end of the day going to bed, I'll put my phone on the desk and like leave it there. I won't have my phone in bed at nighttime. And then during the day, when I'm sitting at my desk and working, my phone's on my bed, right? So I got chargers in both places. So I just pretend like I need to charge my phone even though it's always being charged, and it really keeps me away from it. And it's a lot easier if you don't have the temptation right there to sit in that uncomfortableness, because it's bound to happen, especially if you're used to doing that. I would go as far as to put a screen time password on there, especially if you don't know the password, because I put the screen time thing on there, but I'll type in my password a lot. So if you were to have like your roommate or your brother or sister or whoever put a screen time password on there that only they knew, then they'd probably find a lot of joy in like watching you squirm while you can't be on your phone. What ends up happening is that you spend the time that you would normally be on your phone doing absolutely nothing. And it's a terribly uncomfortable feeling, especially if you're used to getting on your phone as a kind of break. But once I was able to get past the uncomfortable part, the stillness started to motivate action. And a big part of the reason it did that was because I was able to find solitude. I didn't let anyone distract me, and I definitely did not get on TikTok. I think the part of the reason that the nothingness is so uncomfortable is because procrastination and distraction are habits, and they're hard ones to break. We are what we repeatedly do, so don't justify anything. Monotask. Sit down and don't get up until you've finished everything you wanted to. Okay, so this is actually a really good one. And I've really just been doing this for the past week, and it's been working incredibly well. And it's about staying away from having a passive mindset during the day. So basically what triggers your passive mindset is by sitting, watching a video, or doing something that doesn't really require any input from you. TikTok is an especially good one, where you just kind of sit there and you swipe and it shovels whatever it wants to in your face. And I haven't done like a ton of research on this. This is really just from my experience, but my mindset shifts during the day are really easy to switch back and forth, or maybe it's really easy to switch into a passive mindset and out of an active one, but really hard to switch back the other way. I hope that makes sense. So if I start working at like 8, right? Or 9 or 10, sometimes I start working at 10, I won't be on my phone all day until the moment that I actually finish everything that I wanted to do. With that being said, there are some caveats. Like, I think texting is okay because it's conversation. It's actively, you're putting something into it and not nothing, and it's not shoveling anything into your face necessarily. But yeah, so I mean, it's really easy to just say, I'm just gonna watch, one TikTok, but really the point is to not make any excuses and like delay the gratification, so that once you know that you've gotten everything finished, then you are a lot more satisfied when you're watching stuff through and doing whatever and catching up once you finish all of your stuff. This can be really hard, but it will allow you to use the thing that you procrastinate with as a reward, which I think is really cool. That's kind of how you use that to your advantage. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments and press the like button. And if you really want to stick around, I would love if you subscribed. Got a couple hundred right now. We're going nowhere but up, baby. But yeah, so I have a whole bunch of videos around productivity and self-development, and I would love for you guys to join me, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Catch you later.